Well, hi YouTubers, came back with the Physics 100 books, and it is The Last Voyage of the Valentina by Santa Montefiore. A sweeping story of loss and love, and a secret that echoes through time. A tale of a beautiful young woman and a terrible tragedy. Italy 1945, the war is over but its shadow still lingers. Deep in the lush countryside, an eccentric aristocrat is savagely murdered in his beautiful palazzo. London 1971. Years later, this unsolved crime touches the life of Alba, a hedonistic girl who lives on a houseboat in Sweden, Chelsea. Between these two distinctive times runs a thread of love, decadence and betrayal that takes Alba to the olive groves of the Amalfi Coast, rich with the scent of figs and the lingering decay of tragedy. The past unfolds, revealing a secret web of partisans and Nazis, peasants and counts, okay? And in the centre of it all, and the loyal woman of mystery, her mother. Okay, so this is between the Second World War and 1971. Basically the end of the swinging 60s as well. So there is a hint of what went on before, especially in Chelsea. But the story of Alba, where this book opens kind of tells you everything, okay? It goes back and forth through time. London 1971. Okay, here we go. So enjoying the attentions of that young man again, said Viv, standing on the deck of her houseboat. Although it was a balmy spring evening, she pulled her tassel shawl about her shoulders and took a long drag of her cigarette. Not spying again, darling, said Fitz with a wry smile. One can't help noticing the comings and goings of that girl's lovers, Viv narrowed her hooded eyes and held through dilated nostrils. Anyone think you were jealous? Fitz commented, grimacing as he took a sip of cheap French wine. In all the years he had been Viv's friend and agent, she had never once bought a bottle of good wine. I'm a writer. It's my business to be curious about people. Alba's engaging. She's a very selfish creature, but one can't help being drawn to her. The ubiquitous moth to the flame. In my case, not a moth at all, but a rather beautifully dressed butterfly. There you go. So, it starts off with Viv. Now, one thing is Viv. Viv is kind of like Alba's, godmother, if you will. She's the one who kind of sets things in motion. And essentially, it's kind of like, she kind of sees Alba as, I don't know, somebody to control in a way. It's this point of decadence. It's kind of like, okay, so I'm going to mess with her mind, okay? There you go. Alba as a character, though, she is beautiful, beautiful blonde, model figure, Italian looks, sorry, more of a brunette actually. Italian looks, she is hedonistic, selfish, she's a narcissist, she is quite a horrible person in some respects. She uses people and abuses people because she knows she can get away with it. She doesn't work, she lives on this houseboat in Chelsea, which her father pretty much bequeathed to her, and she is an absolute bitch in some respects. Here you go. She's very dismissive of her family. Okay, here's this. Alba had learned Italian as a child. In a usual moment of charity, her stepmother, the buffalo, has suggested she take lessons in order to maintain some contact with her Mediterranean roots. Roots that in every way the woman had tried to eradicate. After all, Alba's mother had been the love of her father's life, and what a great love it had been. The stepmother was all aware of the shadow Valentina casts over her marriage. Unable to erase such powerful memory, all she could do was attempt to smother it. So Valentina's name was ever mentioned. They never travelled to Italy. Alba knew none of her mother's relatives, and her father avoided her questions. So she had long since given up asking. As a child, she had shrunk into an isolated world of patchwork facts that she had managed to sew together by devious means. She would retreat into that world and derive comfort from the invented images of her mother, her beautiful mother, on the shores of the sleepy Italian town where she had met and fallen in love with her father during the war. So basically, Alba is about her mother, so she's constructed this mental image of what a mother is truly like. She blames her stepmother keeping her mother's memory distant, even though you can see her stepmother did her best to kind of maintain that root, okay? Her father can pretty much do no wrong, even though he's the one who stopped her knowing about her past. She sees the world in quite selfish, childish, naive terms. And she is, even though she's like in her mid-20s, her ambition in life, she behaves like a spoiled petulant teenager. She likes to make people angry, she likes to provoke. Her parents are very, well, dad, father, stepmother, they're very into the kind of class system, okay? They're very into, who knows who, okay? It's still a kind of class, okay? And there's an Alba sets upon herself to humiliate and be decadent. Yeah. One thing though, Alba makes a decision, okay, to go to Italy to meet her family. And one thing I liked about this bit is Alba is a pretty much of a total hypocrite. This is where, because it takes a while to really kind of get going again, but this is it. This is her on the plane, okay? Before she had a chance to size up the rest of the passengers, a large, sprawling man, a pyramid of blubber, fell into the seat beside her. "Do you mind?" she said haughtily. The man apologised in a thin, reedy voice and tried to unsuccessfully squeeze himself into a small person. "Alba Huff, they should make special seats for people like you," she said without smiling. "I suppose they should." He extracted a white hanky from his trouser pocket with some difficulty and wiped his forehead. "It's what you choose," she thought in his days. "Just my bloody luck." She strapped himself in, and Alba thought miraculous that the airline made seatbelts big enough. Very inconsiderate of him to be so fat, she thought meanly. He's obviously a very greedy man. Okay? Further on. Alba lit a cigarette, regardless that the fat man began to wheeze beside her like an old steam engine. When the trays of food were handed out, she was appalled that he took one and tucked into the bread rolls about so much as a foot for the pounds he was piling on. "No, you shouldn't eat so much," she said, tapping him on the hand. "Just get bigger, and then seats on the airplanes will be the least of your worries." Fat man looked crestfallen and stared miserably down the white roll and butter in his fingers, whilst Alba returned to her own food and vogue. But down the roll and swallowed the board of angry chat and lodged himself in his throat. Okay? I was a bit sharp she's judgmental. Okay? Then Alba basically hooks up with this guy, who he pretty much screws all night, and he robs her. Okay? And he robs her. Okay? And here she goes. This is when Alba sees the guy from the plane again. Suddenly, to her enormous relief, she spotted a fat man sitting alone in the other end of the dining room. Wave affection for the person she had previously thought beneath contempt, she looked over to his table. She noticed a look of horror that crossed his features when he laid eyes on her. He looked down at his bread roll, already biting and dripping with strawberry jam, and trying to hide it under his pudgy hands. He sat down and put her elbows on the table. "I hope you don't mind if I join you," she said, in the sweetest voice she could manage. She looked up at him with big doe eyes. "I've been robbed. An Italian man has stolen everything. My money, my clothes, my passport, my ticket home, everything. You're the only person I know in the whole of Italy, in the whole of Europe, in fact. Could it be so bold of you to ask for you the huge favour? Could I borrow some money off you, just enough to get me in Cantoralia? I'll take your address and pay you back with interest. I'll be so grateful." She smiled at him and added, "That's for eating on my account." Fat man considered his position for a long moment. Suddenly, a defiant gesture that caused Alba to shrug in horror. He stuffed the entire roll into his mouth. She gasped, trying not to show her disgust, as he chewed it slowly and deliberately, butter sweeping between his lips, and dibbled on the stairway of chin that descended from his mouth. Finally, he wiped his mouth with a napkin. "Dishes," he exclaimed, "I must order more." Alba's hopes slowly began to deflate. She recalled with shame that she'd not only been rude to him on the plane, but unforgivably offensive. Or should he do anything for her? It was a case, he stammered, feeling tearful. "I'm sorry to bother you." "She pick up strange men at the airport," he said, gaining confidence. "Being robbed is the least of your worries." Al's mouth hung open. "I'm sorry." "You heard me. What do you expect? Have you no sense of decorum? I use easy with every man who offers to pay for your dinner. In fact," he said clearly, enjoying humiliating her, "if you suck my cock, I'll pay for your flight home." Alba recalled struggled to her feet and hurried out of the dining room as fast as her shaking legs could carry her. Back in her room, she exploded in fury, kicking the bed and the cupboard and everything else she could attack with a foot. How rude, how ungallant, how could he? Now, first of all, okay, that drawing was made to shock, but kind of shows that Alba has been used her entire life to get in her own way, okay, as just an example, using her looks, using her body, okay. Now, when she's called out on it by this guy, this fat man, as she calls it, okay, but her reaction to it, okay, it's all his fault. How could he? How ungallant? He's not a gentleman, okay, which kind of shows her mentality. It's all about her, okay. And then Alba sneaks out of the hotel and doesn't pay for it, okay, doesn't pay for anything. Then her letter bags are robbed, okay, because this is Italy, and seriously, that's what happens to her. She loses everything, symbolic of her new emotional journey, okay. So yeah. So Alba's actions are just shock, and that line, that line was pretty good, just for like the shock value, if you will, because it kind of stays with her. It kind of stays with her, okay. And I mean, this is a really, really interesting book of a woman who doesn't see how life is really is. It's through this very tender view of my mother was here. Then when she actually gets to this little Italian island, actually meets her family as well. It's this juxtaposition, okay, of Alba trying to figure out her past, but also the kind of woman that she really wants to be. She kind of goes from one extreme to the next as well. She goes through of this journey of self-exploration, but at the end of it, she's still trying to be someone new. She's trying to be this figure that is not really, really her. She's trying to find some middle ground. And she does emerge from a better person, but this is a world where, I'm going to be too honest again, a woman can get knocked up in the 1940s, and a woman can get knocked up in a predominantly Catholic country, but it's a cause of celebration. There's a kind of magical realism going on within this book. I liked it. It's kind of the world of Italy to the world of the war. There's this nice kind of juxtaposition going on, which yeah, I did enjoy. I really did enjoy. Santa Montefiore can really, really write well.